All right, part 2, talking about Boulder and how expensive it is. We can go on for hours about this. However, we're focused on the potential market crash, or that's what I'm hearing a lot of people say on the phone when they don't want to buy now or they don't want to deal with it, which, fair enough. If you don't want to deal with it, then the time isn't right. But I don't think we're going to see a big crash like we saw in 2008, and there's a few reasons why. One, it's a different situation, and theoretically speaking, banks aren't allowed to do what they did. Now, we could talk a long time about what they're actually doing or not doing, and I use banks. I don't really like them, and I don't like the rules, and I think it's really shady being able to reloan 90% of that loan over and over and over again, because that creates a house of cards. But I'm diverging on the topic here, talking about a market crash. And so this is the data for the last 12 years in the Denver metro area. And you can see it's a pretty flat curve. Now, if I pull up another one, this is actually showing the last 4 years, and this is Denver metro versus Boulder. Boulder is a little choppy like this, not because there's many crashes, but because there's luxury homes that sold. And it's usually a $12 million house. It's gonna pop it up and bring it back down. So that's typically why this graph isn't as clean as potentially the Denver metro. It's usually the luxury homes at above 10 million that do throw these stats off a little bit. But if we go back to the 12-year data, you can see this. And I'm actually going to change this Colorado Springs, and I'm going to put in Summit County just for the sake of argument, because that's fun. Did I lose it? Summit. Okay, there we go. Nope, won't go away. Nope, all right. Okay, there we go, technology errors. So this is why we're not going to talk about the mountains right now, because, well, I think there might be a little bit of a bubble there. But in the Denver metro, I don't think there's much of a bubble there, and there's a lot of homes, average price point nearly $600,000, and it's been steadily trending up for the last 12 years, even when we were in the Great Recession right here. Houses markets, they're not going down, they're just staying flat. And the reason for that, in my humble opinion, is, those are labor statistics, which we can pull that up if we want to have some fun too. It's because of this, migration into Colorado. We are having a great influx of people coming in from out of the country. Ooh, what's going on with my map? There we go. I just won't move. So the red is where the population has increased by at least 10,000 to 65,000 people in 7 years. So this data is a little bit outdated. I think the trends are still the same. If anything, it's gotten more larger since 2017, about 4 years ago. And then you can even see, like, the Denver's still expanding, just not as much as, the Denver right here. You got your Denver County. All the Denver metro is just expanding like crazy. Some slight declines in more of the rural area, but that's common that we're seeing kind of everywhere. It's rural areas are not expanding right now. Everyone's coming to the metro areas, not so much the cities, but the metro areas. And so we are having massive influx of population from out of state. So this is net migration coming into the state of Colorado, and which is going to keep pushing housing prices up. And that's why I don't see it crashing, is because we have such a strong migration pattern into the state right now that even if the rest of the country does have a little bit of a blip because of housing, I see ours at most going, well, I think it would go flat. Maybe at most a 5%, maybe. And that would be a really bad day. But I think at most it would just slow down, the inflation would slow down. And I don't even really actually see it going flat anymore like you saw in 2008. Just because we have, there's a lot of jobs coming in, and that's what I had the job reports coming up a minute ago. But I don't see a housing crash happening because even if the country does, I don't think Colorado would, because we have so many people coming into the country. So if you guys ever have any questions on real estate, investing, my door is always open.